This is IGN. A cool aesthetic might be the only Keeper. This is your IGN review of Keeper by Tom Jorgensen. Osgood Perkins has had a very busy year. Just weeks ago, he started production on his next film, The Young People, after kicking January off with The Monkey, one of my favorite films of 2025. Perkins is so busy that he's making movies while he's making other movies. Keeper, the latest of Perkins' dark trips and a tale of new love gone wrong, was shot during a production break on The Monkey, forced by the 2023 actors' strike under an interim agreement with SAG-AFTRA. A movie having an accelerated development and production process doesn't necessarily mean it'll have major issues, but the risk sure does go up. With Keeper feeling like a slow burn that never gets cooking, that seems to have been at least partially the case here. Keeper follows young artist Liz, played by Tatiana Maslany, and her doctor boyfriend Malcolm Westbridge, played by Ross of Sutherland, as they travel to Malcolm's family cabin to celebrate their one-year anniversary. From the jump, Perkins and writer Nick Leppard dole out very little information about Liz and Malcolm's courtship, and not much more as the story goes. So we're left to rely largely on the behavioral cues of Maslany and Sutherland's performances to deduce why they're together in the first place and, more importantly as the story goes, why Liz is willing to rationalize Malcolm's bizarre behavior. Maslany, for her part, does admirable work trying to keep this thing on the rails, turning in a fully committed and emotionally exhaustive performance that almost single-handedly keeps the movie from becoming totally unmoored. The technical aspects of Maslany's performance, especially the authenticity of her simmering and spiraling emotions as the story goes, well outpace the logic and reasoning being foisted upon her by Leppard's script. In its worst moments, Keeper feels like the kind of movie people talk about when they bemoan the self-seriousness of prestige horror. The vast majority of Keeper's problems are on the page. Leppard's script closely follows the movements of horror movies with similar settings and setups. Gerald's Game, Companion, and Midsommar all immediately come to mind, but with little specificity to Liz's circumstances or novel commentary on agency and relationships. Liz is constantly stranded making choices or ignoring warning signs, which betray her strength and resourcefulness that both Perkins and Leppard seem to be trying to highlight. Liz is sharp as a tack, noticing almost every red flag that flies, and Maslany doesn't let any of it go by without throwing in some physical or vocal reaction that grounds the action in some emotional reality. But the momentum of Keeper's storytelling has little room to let that cleverness really shine. As the guy Liz would risk it all for, Ross of Sutherland is critically miscast as Malcolm, and ends up actively detracting from what Maslany's bringing to the table. Keeper positions the degree to which Malcolm is aware of or complicit in the strange goings-on in the cabin as a source of tension to be escalated as the story goes. Keeper's shaky foundation ends up squandering its stronger elements, namely Maslany's performance and the strong production design, each of which evoke tranquility and danger in equal measure. Single-location horror movies really need that location to be both visually interesting and functional, and the Westbridge cabin is a delight of sightlines and interesting architecture for Perkins and director of photography Jeremy Cox to explore. Overall, Keeper's dead simple setup and familiar turns leave little room for Osgood Perkins to make any meaningful, novel commentary on navigating unhealthy relationships through the lens of horror. The movie benefits from a brawny leading turn from Tatiana Maslany and some great aesthetics, but it lacks the specificity or focus to get the most out of them, and Ross of Sutherland's on-the-nose performance as a creepy boyfriend doesn't receive the support from Perkins and Leppard it would have needed to transcend its obvious function within the plot, all of which leaves Osgood Perkins' latest dark trip feeling like it could have used a lot more careful planning before getting on the road. Keeper's IGN score? 5 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest updates on all things horror, visit us at IGN.com.
Spoken Layer.